Welcome everyone to the meeting. Now I'd like to turn over to Councillor Holman for the territorial acknowledgement.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the settlers arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth. We should only take what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant, the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community.
Okay, next. Does anyone have any disclosure of pecuniary interests under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Okay, next agenda item would be ongoing safety issues. I'll turn that over to Councillor Holman.
Just wanted to address the crime that we've been noticing in Wilmot Township with break-and-enters and that sort of thing. Looking for feedback on if there's communication that we could possibly put together to help address that.
One option potentially would be a communication about ensuring vehicles overnight, the doors are locked. That's one of the biggest things. Makes an easy target for people to enter vehicles. It's just stressing to the community the importance of locking your vehicles overnight, even in your driveway.
Is there any communication that Waterloo Regional Police Services uses or any other municipality uses that we could maybe borrow that communication to add with our logo?
We do. We have a pamphlet that's called Lock It or Lose It. Prior to COVID, we used to have auxiliaries go out to, for example, the Wilmot Complex Rec Center and put it on vehicles that were unlocked and so forth. And I can reach out to contact within the service and see what we can do.
I think that'd be really great if we could do that, and I'd volunteer to maybe go through some of the communities that have been targeted the most. And I'm sure there would be some community members that would help distribute that to take layers off of Waterloo Regional Police Services hands, because I know they have other important things to do, and I know the community has been really engaged in trying to find something. So if you could get that, I would definitely communicate that with the community that we have this available and to get that off the ground. So if after this meeting, that would be great if we could get that.
Okay, yeah, I'll reach out to some contacts within the service. Other than that, is there any other items or additional items? Yes, Councillor.
So we've had a couple of incidents with regards to school bus and safety. Wondering if you could speak to that, or if you have any suggestions that we can help with. There was an incident recently at Grandview School with the buses and the laneways. So I know that we have some bylaw signs up, but just wondering if you could maybe speak to how we can help the community understand, especially when we've had, well, even today, looking at the snowfall and the impact that'll have on the roads and the plows, and the safety of the children crossing the street when it's a bit slick, to run in front of a bus and there's cars parked all over. So if you could maybe offer some suggestions for that, please.
Absolutely. Couple options. One might be an education piece. You might, one suggestion, maybe in conjunction with Waterloo Regional Police, put some online, maybe via some of the social media in regards to education of the importance. And I can reach out to our media team to find out in regards to maybe some stats or something to kind of show people in the community that the importance and the heightened risk, especially as you mentioned, poor weather conditions, just exacerbates that.
So is, just to follow up then, with regards to that kind of issue, is that it's more of a bylaw thing? Would it be like the police wouldn't really get involved with sort of helping to control some of that traffic congestion when it comes to school zones?
The other unit that could assist, we would have to reach out to our traffic division, just because then it would have to be a concentrated effort on that specific. Just the unfortunate thing with the ebbs and flows of all volume for our units out in the rural settings here, it'd be more of a challenge. With that said, it never hurts to ask and see what support they can provide to the community. Maybe that's between school. Start of school, end of school, to see if somebody be assigned to help out.
Would it help to have the school board also sort of like in conjunction? Because I know that, as I said, I know Councillor Hellman and I have gone out and we've had communications with two principals in particular with regards to the issue. Would it help for the school board to, could we maybe reach out to them to have where their feelings on this are?
Absolutely. I think we need a coordinated effort to have this type of activity to be successful.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Murray, if we could maybe sort of to follow up a bit on that one with regards to seeing how we can coordinate with the school board and the division that Mr. Coombs said. As I said, there was recently an issue where parents had to actually help back the bus out. And so because it got stuck because the cars being parked on both sides and the bus couldn't get out. So as I said, with the snow even just happening today, I mean, the kids will be home by now, but still, we're not finished with winter yet. And so I'm just wondering if we can follow up on that, please. Thank you.
Yes, I'll follow up on that with, I'll connect with bylaw as well, loop them in because they may have some suggestions as well.
Thank you. Like we have sort of, as I said earlier, Councillor Hallman and I have spoken to two principals in particular, and there's two particular areas where it's becoming quite unsafe, I think, and we did bring it up at one of our council meetings, but I think it's kind of escalated, especially because of the poor weather conditions currently. When we actually raised this issue, there wasn't any snow on the ground. Councillor Hallman and I actually went out and did measurements to see how wide the road was where the people were parking. And I don't know, Mr. Coombs, if you could speak, I don't know the technical term, but when cars park right beside each other across the street, I think that's, I'm not sure if it's illegal, but that's what was happening. And so the buses couldn't even get through because of the width that the parents and or residents were parking. So it becomes quite hazardous. And if the children can't see to get out of the bus and cross the road, again, it's a bit of an issue. So any help would be great.
Absolutely. The traffic portion, I'm going to be honest, isn't my forte. So I don't want to misspeak in regards to specific offenses. However, absolutely from a safety perspective and crime and injury avoidance, I think it's critical to have that.
My next one was recently we've had with the ongoing kind of tension that's happening across the country. There was a banner posted in New Hamburg that was splashed with paint, and the banner just kind of addressed love is love, science is real, that kind of thing. And obviously there was a, so with this said, members of the community have kind of been engaging on social media and wondering if that classifies as if that classifies as any kind of incident that should be reported to police. So I'm not sure, going through Waterloo Region's police website, that links to anything, but I'm wondering if through our community and crime prevention committee, through the Wilmot Township website, if we can perhaps post links to resources about how and when, what's appropriate to notify, and maybe even just a link to Crime Stoppers if people feel they need something else, a direction to go in to get guidance. That might help streamline these things when people are looking to engage and obviously don't want to call 911. So maybe on our page we can help get a way to channel these issues and concerns that are occurring in the community.
Absolutely. The other option, as well as if people aren't sure, you can call the non-emergency line, speak to a uniform officer at one of the divisions, and they can provide some advice to any citizen that's calling in and asking questions. Another option, but absolutely, Crime Stoppers, I think it's a fantastic idea to reach out.
So speaking of the website, is there, Tracy, would you be the person that we would send suggestions to continue to build the website, or how is it looking? Because I know internally through Wilmot Township, we're kind of in that process of getting a communications person. How does that look, and where should that information go for the time being?
So we have a an email address, and I believe it works externally as well. communications@wilmot.ca. So if you just put it through to that goes to the current communications team, and then they can do all the updates. And if it's something that they feel that they would like me to do, then they'll just reach out to me internally and let me know, and we can get that all put on the website. That's not a problem. And you can even have them in terms of the other, with the promoting people locking their vehicles and that sort of thing, you can even ask them to have that put up on the digital signs across the township. And then people will be able to see that as well.
So just a quick follow-up on that one, Tracy. With this committee just sort of starting and getting sort of grounded up off the ground, would it be something that maybe is too soon, but maybe going forward, if the committee can actually have its own page on the township's website, so that those kind of informational links and further communications that we do could be up on there? So the Crime Stoppers number, Mr. Coombs mentioned the non-emergency number. I always have a hard time with that, because when you're sort of thinking of where to call, it's not always something that comes to mind, because obviously anybody thinks of phoning for assistance usually always dials 911. So just out of habit, I think if it's possible, just put up some of that information, and if we're able, before we get the new person on board, to maybe have a community page up for those kind of informational links, that would be great.
Sure, I can talk with our communications folks and suggest that. I don't see it.
Yeah, and as I know we're getting a new person on board, it may be something that's at least put into the wish list for, because can't expect everything to happen overnight. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm not sure if Angie was going to speak to this, but she did raise the sign. So I'm going to just sort of jump on the proverbial bandwagon, so to speak. There's talk of another rally happening this weekend. And I'm wondering how we help our citizens to deal with that, because obviously there's going to be some division. We as a township have been working very hard to ensure that our staff and our community are safe by following some of the mandates, or not some, all of the mandates, through our township offices and community centers. And a lot of our businesses are following them, and ensuring that our citizens are safe, and our vaccination rates is pretty high for Waterloo Region. But I know there's some concern out there for people and their safety about how you engage or not engage with the potential of there being a rally through town. Is there anything we can do to sort of speak to that with regards, either from a township perspective, or if there's a health and safety perspective with regards to the police services and how we approach this if there's going to be another rally this weekend?
From Waterloo Regional Police perspective, I would suggest, if we have some information, is to share it, and then if they are able to have some resources towards that, just to make sure we keep peace and prevent anything from escalating, as well as some notifications to public health. Obviously, if they're in contravention of some of the bylaws or not based on massing gatherings and so forth, I think it's critical that we forward it to the appropriate resources to assist where we can.
Ms. Mary, do you know if the township has got anything prepared? I mean, we had the rally last week, so I'm just wondering now that it seems to be that this might be an ongoing thing as the township. Do you know, if from a communications perspective, has anything been raised so that maybe something can go out?
Not that I've been made aware of. I don't know.
I'm just wondering because of public property, our property, because I know that when the rally happened last time, they were actually using the resource, the Wilmot recreational center. So I'm just wondering if there's something about having them not on our space, just with regards to hockey families and others going there and being bothered, how we can maybe help with those families that are trying to go on with their daily lives and not be bothered or interrupted.
Yeah, I haven't been made aware of anything at my level, but I can definitely follow up immediately following this meeting with both communication staff and the director of parks.
Perfect. Yeah, because the other part too, of course, is our staff, right? Like we already have had issues with our staff and wanting to make sure that they're safe and not have to be antagonized or put into a difficult position because of where they're working and making sure that they're taken care of as well. So it's kind of all encompassing. But being that we have started opening up our facilities and there are going to be families perhaps going and skaters and hockey players and et cetera. I just want to make sure that we're doing all we can to make sure that our residents are safe.
Yeah, I will follow up.
Does anyone else have any other items that they'd like to add or discuss?
I don't have much else for myself today. Those were kind of the big ones because they're sort of taking away some of the issues that have come to the forefront. I think are especially the break-ins, and the school bus one is a big one for me with making sure that the children are safe getting on and off the buses, as well as the drivers, of course. So the other issues going forward will be other ones that we talk about, like where we've mentioned about, sidewalks or clearing of sidewalks and bylaw issues. So I think those kind of will be something for the next agenda, perhaps. And with having maybe inviting Tricia Robinson from the Wilmot Family Resource Center to come on board and maybe some of the issues that she can highlight and help us to move forward on.
Okay. Yes, Councillor?
Just to comment to that, Cheryl, Ms. Robertson is coming to the March, our next meeting, to bring that community perspective, which is great to hear through Tricia's lens how that looks. So that will be great to kind of take shape with that. With the next item on the agenda being just ongoing, not ongoing, agenda planning and stuff like that. I just wanted to ask if Ms. Marie can give us an update on the logo and if that will be addressed later, or if you've had any replies from staff on that yet.
I did have a conversation with Ms. Middleholtz about that, and some of the logos, I'm not entirely sure exactly how they came about, but it didn't seem to be something that we would necessarily do for this committee, but that doesn't mean that we can't. But we can definitely now. I think what we'll do with this new with our new communications staffing, when we have that new person come in, we can definitely have a conversation with them about this, and that might be the best time to approach that conversation again.
The next one I wanted to bring up was, we had briefly discussed it last time, was Anti-Bullying Day. I'm just wondering if perhaps we could just direct some communication to just to the communications team and kind of have that through the lens of our group, just to kind of get that off the ground, that the messaging is coming from this group. And yeah, so I'm happy to feed some data that way. And again, you know what, with this great relationship that we have with Moreland Regional Police, perhaps there's already some messaging that they've got that we can amplify. So even if our communications is speaking with them and we just share what they've got, that could be just a great way to just to get that messaging out there and strong. Is there any plans as well for, as we head into June, for Rainbow Month? I'm just wondering if there's if we can also prepare some things in the background for that as well, just to make sure that the queer community knows that just safety provisions and that, you know, just anti-racism work and diversity that we're supporting from that. If we can maybe add that to plans and communication as well.
Chair?
Yep, thank you. Just this have you had any responses with regards to adding extra people? I know that a couple have sent in, or at least I think one has sent in a application. I'm just wondering about the status of having another community member on the board.
I've had a couple of inquiries, but I have not had an actual application come in yet from anyone. So hopefully it closes on Sunday, but that doesn't mean that we would deny any applications that would come in on Monday.
Okay, I'll double check I think one of them was a reference I did, so I'll double check and see maybe if something's come up. They're a young parent, so maybe it's just they've reevaluated their timing, but I will double check with the one person I think that might have inquired, and if they haven't, I will check and see if they are going to inquire. So thank you for that.
Yes, and I do know that our communications staff have also have some, they're planning on posting again on social media, I think over the weekend, ahead of the deadline for applying. So hopefully we'll get some uptake over the weekend. And also I'll just look to add as well, should we not receive any applications for the committee by the deadline, we will just keep the recruitment open and keep it ongoing so we can really encourage people to join the committee.
Is that it for agenda planning or any questions? Okay, then I would move to adjourn the meeting. Do I have someone that would second that? Oh, we got a couple. So at this time, we'll adjourn the meeting, and we'll see everyone on the next meeting in March. Thank you very much.